Biggest debt, one of the things I love saying this, but like the biggest debt all of us pay is ignorance. And so I heard this close at this pitch years ago, and this guy got on stage and he was like, "Hey, ma'am," she was like, "How much do you make?" And she was like, $50,000. So he wrote $50,000 on the whiteboard, and then he wrote $1 million on top of the 50,000, and he subtracted it and said 950,000. He said, "You pay life $950,000 every single year for not knowing how to make $1 million a year." And it was a crazy concept. He was using it to close the audience, but the most expensive thing that all of us are paying for is the information that we don't know. And that's like both frightening and also incredibly exciting, because like fish in the best ponds, right? Like a good fisherman knows where to fish, and everybody can put a hook and a thing and stick it over the water, but like the best fishermen know where and when, et cetera. And that's exactly the story that you said. Is like, I had the hook and I had the reel and all that stuff, but like I went to where the best fishing was. And like, to me, that's skill.
Same work.
Yeah.
Same amount of time, same rod.
More zeros. One of the things in the first book is like, you want to like sell better customers. So if
you want to sell better customers.
Yeah, like it's the exact same thing you just said, which is like, if I were to do CRO work, so conversion rate optimization for a website that's e-commerce, and I work for a store that's doing $1 million a year, and I say, cool, I'm able to increase your conversion rate site by 20%. Okay, cool. So now that's doing $1.2 million a year. I made $200,000 in value, and maybe I can get 10% of that. I get 20 grand. Okay, cool. I do the same work to a business doing $100 million a year. I make them $20 million for my 20% bump, and I get 10% of that, and I make $2 million. 20,000, 2 million, 100x, same work, to your point. And to me, that's skill. Like, to know that simple fact. Like, I had this tweet that went super viral, which was solve rich people problems, they pay better. A lot of controversy around that, but it's true. And so find the people. And a different way of saying it is, find the people who value what you have the most. And I'm sure you've heard this. Have you heard the story of the father and the son with the car?
No.
Okay. So
maybe I have, but I'm not sure if that was enough details.
No, it's good. It's good. So there's a father who gifts his son an old beat up car. And he says, hey, I don't know if it drives or not, but you can take it down to the dealership down the street, see if you can trade it and get some money. He was like, okay. So he goes down the street, goes to the dealership. They say, we'll give you $1,000 for it. And he hears him out, comes back home. He's like, Dad, they said, give me $1,000. He's like, okay. He's like, go to the impound yard where they, break the cars up just for metal. He's like, see what they'll give you. Goes there. And the guy's like, I don't know, this might be $500 of metal. The kid comes back home. He's like, Dad, he said it was gonna be $500. He's like, okay. He's like, hey, go down the street to that antique dealership, see if they've got anything, that used car lot. He's like, okay. So he goes down there, talks to the guy, comes back home, super excited. He's like, Dad, you won't believe it. He's like, this is a historic car. There's only like 10 of them left. He's like, it's worth $100,000. And so the father smiles and he's like, and the lesson I want you to know is that it's not necessarily who you are, but the people that value you the most. And so you can talk to different people and go to the people who value you. And I love that story because it's a huge business story in terms of like sell where the fish are, where the big fish are. Like if you're going to go hook fish, go where the whales are. It takes the same work, but a lot of it's just belief. People don't think it's possible. And so a lot of times you have to just keep leveling up, and you sell your first $10,000 thing, you sell your first $100,000 thing, sell your first multi-million-dollar package. You realize that's the exact same thing. It's just, so maybe if anybody's listening right now, it is the same thing. It's the exact same thing. And sometimes it's easier.
It's normally easier.
Yeah. Like, you've seen that meme that says like, so what exactly am I going to be getting for this $50 thing, right? Yeah. And then it's like $50,000 clients, like wire sent yesterday, like what else do you need? Like and that's totally true. But I think there's a skill in understanding where to fish.